Good morning, beloveds. So the joke is that the temperature saw a state trooper on the road. Yesterday, the high was almost 90, I think. Or maybe it was in the mid 80s. Or that was Sunday. And yesterday, I think it was in the 70s. And then last night it dropped. It's supposed to have dropped either in the 40s or by the time I got up, it was 53. It's not supposed to get into, it's not supposed to get into the 70s today. It's supposed to drop into the low 40s tonight. And then by this weekend, it'll be back in the 80s. I didn't watch the weather, but they were talking about how, this polar blast just shot through, and there is some concern in some of the southern states about getting crops in before they harvest. So, occasionally I do ask for prayer requests, and I would say, for those farmers who are concerned about this polar blast and getting crops in, let's have a good knowing for them that, they get all of that work done. According to the weather, people, in the news story, it's early. So, all right. No pride. Just going to use the glasses. Okay. It is October 18th. Our title is Abundance is Natural in My Life. Our first quote is, "A faithful person shall abound with blessings," and that is Proverbs 28:20. The second quote is, "Our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite." And that is The Science of Mind, page 37. People tend to overlook the fact that God's universe is an extravagant universe. There is always an overabundance of whatever is required. When people come to know and understand that their relationship with God is one of unity, they will know and understand that they exist at the center of an abundance of everything they need in order to express themselves properly and to reproduce in their life all that is natural and right to their living. Jesus said, "Believe in me, and that I am in the Spirit, and then the Spirit is in me, or else believe in me for the very work's sake." Okay. He spoke always from a consciousness of the indwelling presence, whose omniscience and omnipotence he never doubted. We must stop doubting, too, and know the great power inherent in us if we are to use our creative ability wisely instead of chaotically. As we learn to take our ideas from the center of wisdom within us, we shall prove the abundance of every provision necessary to prosper our living. I realize that my experience of unhappiness, lack, or failure expresses no glory whatsoever, but shows an ignorance of my divine potential and a lack in my own responsibility towards its better use. I take into my business endeavors today a belief in abundance that not only includes monetary returns for my efforts, but also new insights into the ways of being of better service. God's guidance always prospers, and I let every activity be harmonized by it, that my work shall show forth God's presence in me in every contact I make today. And that is C.C. Craig Carter. Okay. And as I was reading that, what I was reminded of was the James Webb telescope. If you've seen the pictures, they're gorgeous. And now that we are seeing more clearly out in space, we're seeing so much more. Which is why it reminded me of that. It's like, because, you know, when we look with our naked eye, we can't see much. When we look with a telescope, we can see more. And as the telescopes get better and better, i.e. the James Webb being a satellite telescope that's, 1,000% beyond the Hubble telescope, we see more and more. And so it reminds me of that quote, "We see through the glass darkly," And part of that is because we are viewing it with a material, we are viewing the world, we are viewing God's world with a material viewpoint. And thus we are seeing through the glass darkly. We are looking through a material lens, literally a material lens, but also, because we've got this idea of what abundance means, and we've got this idea of what prosperity means. We've got this idea of what it means to express ourselves. And it's limited. It's very limited. And so if we do as he says, we go back to the wisdom at the center of ourselves, and we look through our spiritual lens instead of our material lens, or not necessarily instead of our material lens, but in addition to our material lens, then we'll see so much more. When we look through God's eyes, we see the abundance, and we see that there's so much more to the world than what we think. Because we can. I'm a big believer in expanding our definition of abundance, expanding our definition of prosperity. Because we are narrowing our world when we look at prosperity and only think money. I'm a big believer in that. I think abundance and prosperity includes relationships and, nature. And that's why immediately I was struck by I was brought to the James Webb Telescope. Because if you go and look at the pictures, it's again, look at what you see with your naked eye. Look at what the James Webb satellite can see. There's so much more. There's so much more. And so we are called to look with our spiritual eyes. We are called to expand beyond the material definition. And then he says, then we can use that spiritual wisdom to express ourselves, because that's part of what we're here for, is to express ourselves. Well, how do we do that? And some people express themselves to the entire world, and some people just express themselves to the people around them. And that's good. If you want to express yourself to the entire world, then you'll find a way to do it. And if you're content to express yourselves to the people nearest to you, there's no wrong way. Abundance and prosperity are what you make of it, not what you've been told they are. There's a lot that gets left out. When we lean into other people's definitions, we let other people limit us. And so it's up to us to lean into what we know, what we feel, and go from there. And let me grab that line. Abundance is natural in my life. Yeah. Because the universe is so much. Yeah. If you looked at what Galileo could see and what the James Webb Telescope could see, we're learning so much. When we learn to take our ideas from the central wisdom within us, we shall prove the abundance of every provision necessary to prosper our living. When we are willing to go within for the definition of what our abundance is and what our prosperity is, and not from what's outside of us, then we can make the best use of what we have, and go from there. We must stop doubting to and know the great power inherent in us if we are to use our creative ability wisely instead of chaotically. Okay, let me read that line again. We must stop doubting to and know the great power inherent within us if we are to use our creative ability wisely instead of chaotically. What he is reminding us is, while we do not know the power within us deeply, we're using it, but we are using it chaotically. When we take the time to do our spiritual practice, to get to know ourselves, to get to know the source of our own being, then we will use that power wisely. Okay? we're using it. We're using it all of the time. That's one of the things that Science of Mind teaches. Look, you're using that creative power within you all the time. But are you doing it to the best way possible? Maybe not. Maybe you are. Maybe you are. Or maybe if you spend a little time with yourself, got to know the source of your own being, you might use it a little bit better or a lot better. I like that he says instead of using it chaotically. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to know that power inherent in us, to spend the time with the source of our own being, to get to know that power so that we use it wisely. So that we can look through that spiritual lens instead of limiting ourselves to that material lens and see the abundance that's around us so that we may express ourselves, because that's part of it. That is absolutely part of who we are. Who we are. And that's why Jesse gave us that summer assignment of know who you are. And part of who you are is a beloved child of God. And you are a channel for that love into this world. So, all right. So you have your mission. The second thing that I always suggest is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. It is about self-care, because it can look like taking a walk. It can look like taking a nap. It can look like, taking a deep breath. It can look like shortening this because your partner had to go to work a little early, so he's not around to help you. So you have stuff you need to take care of. But I still said what I needed to say. But it also looks like joy. It looks like making sure that you are taking time out to enjoy your life, to really engage all 5 of your senses. I said, don't limit yourself to the material lens. Okay. I didn't say not to use the material lens. While you are in this body, please use it to enjoy your life. That is part of your expression. So engage all 5 senses in something, whatever it is. I encourage you to practice on yourself, because you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. You are also the best subject to practice on. And when you practice on, you are creating a bank. So when you meet people who need a little extra, you've got it. All right. You've got enough to share, because it is coming from an infinite source. All right. So the other things are, to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you, to, sorry, I can feel the edges of the congestion there from allergies. The ragweed is very high. So do something to engage your mind and your body. Drink plenty of water, which will help with that congestion, believe it or not. Hydration is super important to everything. Make sure you get early in your day, bright light, reset those circadian rhythms. You will have more energy during the day. You will sleep better at night. It's science. Look it up. And in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right now, right here. It is all around us all the time. Okay. And that is part of looking through the spiritual lens, not just the material lens. Now, you can absolutely look through the material lens and see the heaven. Okay. But in addition to the spiritual lens, it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. That's what heaven is. It's not a place. Jesse said a really interesting thing, because he said if there was a place on earth where nothing had ever been wrong, everybody would have moved there and the prices would have gone up. It's a state of mind. Anybody can get there, and everybody can get there. And it is our goal to get there ourselves so that other people can see it. We can't walk their path for them. The only path we can walk is our own. But what we can do is hold up the lamp and light the path so that other people can find it. That's our goal. That's our goal. All right. And part of that is to take Emma's advice and look for the good and praise it. All right. So activate your superpower. And now I have Wonder Twin powers activate in my head. Yeah, I'm a child of the 80s. Okay. I don't know where I just went. So I'm going to, this is the social media part. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So please feel free to, like and follow and share all that stuff. The content is, we try and get you good content. I'm still proud of the YouTube playlist. Go look at the Soul Session playlist because there's one coming tomorrow. So, and it will be an amazing one. All right. There was something else. I don't remember. No. So it's time to tell you to have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, an enchanting day, a magical day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an awe-filled day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are enough just as you are. As I have said before and will continue to say every day, you are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased. Always. Because it is a state of grace. It doesn't have to be earned and it can't be taken away. All right? That's what that spiritual lens is about. All right? So open that spiritual lens up and take a look around. There's a lot more than you think there is. All right? Get your own James Webb telescope, satellite telescope, and see all of the amazingness around you. And see all of the amazingness that you are. Okay? All right. That is what I know. Oh, I forgot about the email. So, if you want to know what's going on at the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. The hot links are hot. They will take you right to where what you want to know. So Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. Take care of yourself and know that you are loved. Always. I will see you next time.